Hi everyone, and welcome to SimpleSpeak English. I'm Mark, and it's really nice to spend this time together with you today. Maybe this is your first time listening, or maybe you come back every week to practice with us, and either way, we're happy you're here. Today, we're going to slow down, relax, and just enjoy a simple English conversation together.
Hi everyone, I'm Lily, and thank you so much for joining us today. We know that many of you are learning English step by step, and sometimes learning can feel difficult or stressful. So today, we just want this to feel calm and natural, like you are sitting with friends and listening to a real conversation.
Yes, exactly. And today we are talking about something very important for everyday English, and that is how to start conversations naturally. Because many English learners understand grammar and vocabulary, but when it is time to speak, they don't always know how to begin.
That's true. And I remember when I was learning another language, the hardest moment was always the first sentence, because I kept thinking too much and I worried about making mistakes. And that made me feel nervous before the conversation even started.
And that feeling is very normal. So if you are listening right now and thinking, yes, that happens to me, then today's conversation is for you, because we're going to talk slowly, share real examples, and show you that starting conversations can be simple and natural.
Before we begin, we want to say thank you to everyone who listens to SimpleSpeak English every week. And if these conversations help you feel more confident, please remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment, because your support helps us continue creating simple English conversations for you.
Yes, and we really enjoy reading your comments, especially when you tell us where you are listening from. So maybe today you can write in the comments and tell us where you usually speak English, at work, at school, or maybe when you travel.
That's a nice question, because conversations happen everywhere, and many people think conversations need a big or interesting topic. But actually, most conversations begin with very small and simple things.
Exactly, and this is the first important idea today. Small talk is not meaningless. Small talk helps people feel comfortable, and it creates a bridge between strangers.
Yes, small talk can be about the weather, the place you are in, or something happening around you. And even though it sounds simple, it helps people relax and feel connected.
I remember one time I was waiting in line at a coffee shop, and the person next to me said, "It's really busy today." And that was all, just one simple sentence, but it started a conversation that felt very easy and natural.
That happens to me too. And what is interesting is that nobody plans these conversations. They just happen naturally. And that is why trying to sound perfect can sometimes make conversations harder.
Yes, because real conversations are not perfect. People pause, people repeat themselves, people laugh, and sometimes people change topics suddenly.
Yes, and sometimes people forget what they were saying in the middle of a sentence, and that is completely normal.
I do that often, and it reminds us that conversation is about communication, not perfection.
So let's imagine a simple situation. You are at work, and you want to start a conversation with a coworker. Maybe you don't know them very well. What could you say?
One easy way is to talk about something you both share, like the work environment. For example, is it always this busy in the morning? Or did you have a busy day today?
Yes, these questions are simple and friendly, and they allow the other person to answer comfortably without pressure.
And another important thing is your tone, because starting a conversation is not only about words, it is also about sounding warm and relaxed.
That's true, because when you speak slowly and smile, people feel more comfortable talking with you.
I remember when I moved to a new city, I didn't know many people, and I felt shy starting conversations. But when I started using simple greetings like, "Hi, how's your day going?" I realized most people respond positively.
Yes, and many people are also waiting for someone else to start the conversation. So sometimes you are helping both people feel more comfortable.
That's a very good point, because starting a conversation is not about being impressive, it is about being friendly and human.
I like that idea. Being human instead of being perfect.
Let's talk about meeting someone for the first time. Maybe a friend introduces you to someone new. What happens then?
Usually, it starts very simply, like, "Hi, I'm Lily. Nice to meet you." And then maybe a small question like, "How do you know Mark?"
Yes, and that question naturally continues the conversation because people enjoy sharing small stories about how they met.
And this shows something important. Simple English often sounds more natural than complicated English.
Many learners think longer sentences sound better, but in real conversations, simple sentences feel more comfortable.
Mark, let me ask you something. Do you think silence in conversations is bad?
That's an interesting question, and honestly, I think short silence is normal because people need time to think.
I agree, and many learners feel nervous when there is silence, so they try to speak too quickly.
Yes, and then they feel tired or stressed. So here is a small tip. If there is a pause, just breathe and smile, and continue naturally.
Or you can say something simple like, "How about you?" which helps continue the conversation easily.
That phrase is very powerful because it keeps the conversation balanced.
I think conversations feel natural when people show interest, not when they try to sound smart.
Yes, curiosity is more important than vocabulary.
For example, if someone talks about their weekend, you can ask, "Oh, really? What did you do?" And that keeps the conversation moving.
That reminds me of a time when someone asked many questions but didn't really listen to the answers, and the conversation felt uncomfortable.
Yes, listening is just as important as speaking.
Conversations are like a tennis game. The conversation moves back and forth.
And if one person talks all the time, the conversation feels unbalanced.
Let's talk about mistakes for a moment, because many learners worry about making mistakes.
Yes, and we want to say clearly that mistakes are normal and necessary when learning a language.
Most people care more about understanding you than about your grammar.
And sometimes small mistakes even make conversations feel more natural and friendly.
I often hear learners say, "I will speak when my English becomes better." But actually, English becomes better when you start speaking.
Practice builds confidence, and confidence makes conversations easier.
Let's imagine another situation. Maybe you are waiting somewhere, like a bus stop or a waiting room. What could you say?
You could say something simple like, "Do you know how long the wait usually is?" Or, "Is this line always this long?"
These questions feel natural because they are connected to the situation around you.
And if the other person wants to talk more, the conversation continues naturally. And if not, that is also okay.
Yes, not every conversation needs to become long, and that is completely normal.
Sometimes short, friendly conversations are already successful communication.
And every small conversation helps you feel more comfortable next time.
I remember students who were afraid to say even hello at first, but after practicing small conversations, they became much more confident.
That shows how powerful small steps can be.
Simple reactions also help conversations feel alive, like saying, "Really?" or "That's nice," or "Oh, I see."
Yes, because these reactions show you are listening and interested.
And they give you time to think about your next sentence.
Emotions also make conversations feel real when people share small feelings like being tired, excited, or happy.
For example, saying, "It's been a long week," often makes the other person relate to you.
Humans connect through shared experiences.
That is why small personal stories make conversations interesting and warm.
Yes, and sometimes those small personal stories are the reason a conversation continues, because when someone shares something real, even something simple, the other person feels more comfortable sharing too, and suddenly the conversation feels easy instead of forced.
I remember one time I was sitting on a plane next to a woman I didn't know, and at first we didn't talk at all. And then she smiled and said, "I hope this flight is not too bumpy." And I laughed and said, "Me too. I'm not very brave on airplanes." And that small, honest moment turned into a long conversation about travel, family, and favorite cities.
That's a great example because the conversation didn't start with something complicated. It started with a feeling, and feelings are something everyone understands.
Yes, and beginners sometimes think they need advanced vocabulary, but actually, simple emotional sentences like "I'm a little nervous" or "I'm excited today" sound very natural.
And people respond to emotions more than to perfect grammar because emotions feel real.
Mark, do you remember a time when a conversation started in a funny or unexpected way?
Oh, yes. Actually, I remember once I dropped my coffee in front of a store, and it was a complete accident. And someone nearby said, "Well, that's one way to start the morning." And we both started laughing. And that moment made it very easy to talk.
Sometimes small accidents make conversations easier because nobody is trying too hard.
Exactly. And that's another important idea. When you stop trying to sound perfect, conversations become more natural.
I think many learners feel pressure because they translate in their heads before speaking.
Yes, and that slows everything down, and it makes conversations feel stressful.
Instead, it helps to use simple phrases you already know, like "that's interesting," or "really?" or "I never thought about that."
These small phrases give you time to think while still staying in the conversation.
And they also show the other person that you are engaged and listening.
Let's talk about another situation many learners experience, starting conversations at social events like small gatherings or parties.
Yes, that can feel difficult, especially when people are already talking in groups.
In that situation, simple questions work very well, like, "How do you know the host?" or "Have you been here before?"
Those questions are safe and natural, and almost everyone can answer them easily.
And it's okay if the conversation stays short at first, because sometimes conversations grow slowly.
I used to think I needed to say something interesting immediately, but later I realized that listening first is often better.
Yes, listening helps you understand the mood of the conversation.
And sometimes just smiling and nodding helps you become part of the group naturally.
Another thing learners worry about is what to do when they don't understand something.
That's very common, and the best thing is to be honest and say, "Sorry, could you say that again?" Or "I didn't catch that."
Native speakers say that too, so it sounds completely natural.
And most people are happy to repeat themselves if you ask politely.
I think one big misunderstanding is that good conversation means talking a lot.
Yes, but actually, good conversation means sharing space, sometimes speaking, sometimes listening.
Exactly, and quiet people can be very good conversationalists because they listen carefully.
Mark, do you think humor helps when starting conversations?
Yes, but simple humor, not jokes that are complicated, just light comments about the situation.
Like saying, "I think everyone had the same idea coming here today," when a place is crowded.
Yes, that kind of humor feels natural because it connects to the moment.
And laughter relaxes people immediately.
I remember once getting lost in a new city, and I asked someone for directions, and I said, "I think I walked in a circle for 20 minutes," and we both laughed, and the conversation felt friendly right away.
That's nice because showing a little vulnerability makes you more approachable.
Yes, people feel comfortable when they see you are relaxed about small mistakes.
Another helpful thing is asking open questions instead of questions that only need yes or no answers.
For example, instead of saying, "Do you like your job?" you can say, "What do you like most about your job?"
That gives the other person more space to talk, and it makes the conversation flow naturally.
And when they answer, you can connect their answer to your own experience.
Like saying, "Oh, that sounds interesting. I had a similar experience once," and then sharing a short story.
Yes, conversations grow when people connect ideas together.
I think beginners sometimes forget that conversations don't need to be deep or serious all the time.
That's true. Many conversations are simply about daily life, food, weather, work, or small plans.
And those simple topics are actually the best practice for learning natural English.
Because they happen every day.
Mark, what would you say is the biggest mistake people make when starting conversations?
I think the biggest mistake is waiting too long for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment usually never comes.
That's very true. Sometimes you just need to say hello and let the conversation grow naturally.
And even if the conversation is short, you still practiced.
Every small interaction builds confidence step by step.
I like to think of conversations like learning to swim. At first, the water feels uncomfortable, but the more time you spend in it, the more natural it feels.
That's a very good comparison.
And one day, you realize you are not thinking about every word anymore.
Yes, and that moment feels very rewarding.
Before we finish today, let's think about one simple takeaway for everyone listening.
I would say the most important thing is to be kind to yourself because learning a language takes time.
And remember that conversations are not tests, they are connections between people.
So next time you have the chance, try starting a small conversation, even something simple like, "How's your day going?"
And notice how often people respond with kindness.
We hope today's conversation helped you feel more relaxed and confident about speaking English.
Thank you for spending this time with us on SimpleSpeak English.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share this with someone who is learning English too.
Keep practicing, keep smiling, and remember that natural English grows slowly, one conversation at a time.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.